leave one out encoding. This is very similar to target encoding, but excludes the current row's target when calculating the mean target for a level to reduce the outliers. When dataset is limited, leave one out encoding can be helpful to prevent overfitting by avoiding using the same instance to both train and test the model. High risk of overfitting, the model is prone to overfitting. This can be beneficial in case of generalization. This reduces target leakage and overfitting. It's also computationally intensive because in the large dataset, the target mean needs to be recalculated for each instance. There is a potential of noise due to exclusion of the current instance. It's relatively simple, as you can see, right? Conceptually, it's very simple. So let me explain this with our standard example. These are the data point for temperature, where when you calculate for this row, we'll be excluding it for target. So if you see, hot has 1, 2, 3, 4, but we'll be considering only while calculating this, we'll be considering the rest of the count. So that's why the count is 3. And target also we won't consider this, but rather we'll be considering the target, rest of the hot target. So here is 1, here is 1, so there is 2. So the count is 3 and sum is 2. And the mean is 2 by 3.67. So which is different from the normal mean encoding, where we don't exclude this. Let's take another example for very hot. And this is the interesting case because this has got only one single example. So if we take it out, there is no other instance. So it will be like a 0 by 0, which is a divide by 0 problem. Usually, we take it as a mean as either 1 or we can take a global mean. Let's take another example for worm. So if you see in this case, worm, we'll be counting the other swarm. So there are 2, 1, 2. So the count is 2. But in case of target, only 1 has for the out of these 2 worm. This is 0, this is 1. So sum is 1. So that's why sum is 1, count is 2. And the mean is 1 by 2.5. So now after we encode, this value will be encoded for the temperature encoded value. Let's take a look at code. Leave one out encoding. Here I am using pandas and numpy. Using the toy dataset, loading into a data frame, I am creating one leave one out encoding function where data frame, the categorical column and target columns are input. First, I will be copying the data frame into another intermediate variable, and then we'll be applying the function on top of it. So in this case, first I'm calculating the target column for each category, the mean, and also calculating the count. Now, to calculate leave one out encoding, what we need to do is apply a lambda function that I'll be applying to each row. So in this case, what I am doing here in this lambda function, I am applying a logic. First, need to negate the impact of this specific row that I am trying to update. Now, two scenario. I'll apply this lambda function if the count is greater than 1, which means the category has more than one instance in the data frame. Otherwise, this row will be the only instance, which means in this case, I'll take exactly the category mean of that row. Basically, whatever the target is there, same value will be replicated. Now, coming back to this calculation, what I am doing here is first again recalculating the mean and count, basically getting the total target and then subtracting the target of the row column. So assume that the overall mean was, suppose there were 5 count and the mean was 0.8. That means this 0.8 times 5 is 4. And suppose the row target was 1. So 4 minus 1, it will become 3. And at the same time, I am also subtracting the specific row. That means earlier there were 5 count for these categories. And if I remove 1, it will become 4. So here the calculated value is 3 and this is 4. So 3 by 4 is 0.75. So you can see earlier, if I would not have used leave one out encoding, the encoded value would have been 0.8. But since I used a leave one out encoding, the encoded value will become 0.75. Now here I'm just updating this temperature and target encoded value in a new dataset. And you can see after encoding, this is how the dataset looks like. There could be another implementation that you can use. For category encoders, there is a leave one out encoding built-in encoder. So loading the data frame, then initializing leave one out encoder for these 2 columns, and then use the feed transform using the target. This is the final resulting output, and you can see it's matching exactly with the previous example where I created the function to build it. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting content on machine learning and AI.